Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to TraderMerlin Show. It is your Monday edition. It's going to be a short week this week. I have as you guys know, a guest in town. I think I'm taking Thursday, Friday off, so it's going to be a rather wild week for me. So less shows. Sorry about no Thursday, Friday show, but just let everybody know if you're not here. I'll repeat it later on, just so you guys all know. All right, now let's talk about some news that's going to make Margaret very happy today. We'll talk about some changes in the S&P 500. Now, one of the things that I always talk about in financial markets is that over time, the markets tend to go up. They're just built that way. They're architecturally designed to go up over time. And the way that they do that is by removing components that are underperforming or maybe outdated sectors, and they put in new stuff that is maybe a hotter market segment, newer companies, etc. So we have S&P 500 changes that have happened, and there are 3 of them going to happen on September 22nd. Of course, the announcement was made today, and that caused some pretty significant jumps up. I will run through the ones that are getting removed first so we can see what goes on there. We got MKTX. This one will be removed from the S&P 500. Granted, it's a very small component of it. And if you look at the price chart here, it looks like this thing's been kind of a dog for a while, right? It's still a $187 stock, but this thing was back at $600 back in 2020. And what they are is data, right? They're trading data. So, all right, not that that's a dying business, but I think there's just enough competition in that space that we don't necessarily need to have that one in the S&P 500. There's plenty of other data companies in there, so let's get rid of market access. Number 2 is Enphase, ENPH. As you can see, this chart also looks like a dying breed. They should have taken this thing back out in 2020 because back then it was over $340 and now it's only at $38. What do? We'll take a guess. We've got President Trump saying, I'm going to get heavy on going after solar and not touching solar and leaving that stuff all alone. And here we have a solar company, Enphase. So they're out of the S&P 500 as of September 22nd. And the last one kind of surprises me, but I guess maybe not so much after I hear all the stuff that's going on in Vegas. That's Caesars Entertainment. Back in 2021, Caesars Entertainment was close to $120, and here we are today down around $26. So, nothing very good there. Sign of the times. Maybe it's just gambling. From my experience, for those who've been to Vegas here over the last, let's say, 10 years, if you go back 15 years, Vegas was cheap. It was fun. You went, you gambled, you had shows, you were comped meals. It was just a great place to go. Now it's almost like it's become like Ibiza, Spain, where you go into a nightclub and just because you walked in the door to that nightclub, the cost of entrance is $100. And then each drink is like $85. It just continues to get more and more and more expensive. We did a pool party with just 4 people last time I was up there, and I had the pool reserved for a couple hours and a couple drinks, and it was almost $1,000 for this pool party. So I think I'm reading more and more that Vegas is suffering. Attendance is down more and more and more because it costs so much damn money to go there. I agree. Mammon says need to get the mob back in Vegas. Bring back that mob, lower those costs, get things down even cheaper going forward. So maybe that's why Caesars is getting removed. You've got solar energy being taken out because that's, of course, has some headwinds now politically. And then you've got trading data being removed as well because, let's be honest, trading data is a dime a dozen, so they probably overdid it. That's the stuff that's getting taken out. And you can already see those charts are just apocalyptic. They look so bad. Really, really bad charts there for those 3 companies. Oh, but wait. When you take out a component of the S&P 500, typically that one is already in a downtrend and will probably continue to show some weakness going forward. However, when you add in a new component, remember, every index around the world that tracks that index, the S&P 500 or the large cap market, they're all going to track the S&P. They now have to sell whatever's being removed and add in the things that are being added. And of course, some of those have been on amazing trajectories. Does that mean it's the beginning of the end for those stocks? Not necessarily. Let's start with Margaret's favorite, HOOD, which is up 15% today. 15.83% jump today, right back to all-time highs on this bad boy. $117.28 is where it leaped up to today. And if you look at that chart, amazing, right? And again, we talked about this being a dying company, then unless they reinvent themselves, they're probably going to sell off their assets to someone else or get acquired. And basically that line at $13.12, which is where we were saying, once it gets above there, okay, maybe we start looking at it, and some of you did. I know Margaret's been holding this one for a while, and it just has gone absolutely fantastic for you. And again, adding that to the S&P 500 certainly adds a great pop to the underlying value of Robinhood, because now everybody has to buy Robinhood, and of course, it's sitting at all-time highs. Now, that was just one of them, EME. MCore. MCore does building, I'm trying to remember off the top of my head. I think MCore does building construction, basically all aspects of new construction, but more commercial buildings for businesses and things like that. Interesting. I think a lot of it has to do with technology infrastructure as well and building all that out, but they're getting added into it as well, and their chart looks pretty darn good. You notice the difference here. Basically, it's not just HVAC, it's a whole bunch of other stuff that they do as well. But if you notice that trend of EME right now, fantastic, right? Unfortunately, why didn't they add this a long time ago, right? Why didn't they add this 6 months, a year, or 2 years, 5 years ago when this thing was in a nice big uptrend? They're removing the stuff that's been in downtrends for the last 3 years. They're a little late there. Their market timing, needless to say, for the S&P or Standard & Poor's, slightly off, not looking so good. So not feeling so good about the timing on these, but obviously you go with your winners, right? As a sports team would, you want to go with the players that have the hot hand. And right now, MCore is one of those, and Robinhood as well. Now the third piece that's getting added in there is ticker symbol APP. Now what does APP do? Well, APP is marketing. It's ads. It's ad marketing. So this is a very hot sector, of course, with everybody on their mobile devices and all that type of stuff. Yeah, App11, I never even heard of this company, to be honest. Looking pretty good. And again, big uptrend. If you go back to April of this year, we were sub 220, and now we're at 547. It was up 11.59% of the day. But longer than that, it's been on this really attractive uptrend. It just keeps going and going and going. So smart move for the S&P 500. My concern is that they're adding in stocks that have already been on unbelievable market rallies, really just pushing higher and higher and higher. So, you missed a lot of that boat, but you're getting rid of the stuff that's dying on you, and you're putting in 3 new components. Now, those are your changes to the S&P 500. And Big Eb asked a great question. He says, Hood is probably a short after September 22nd. What do you think? Well, I got to be honest, I don't have data on that. I don't have empirical data that says this is typically what happens, but my gut would tell me that some point shortly after September 22nd, that would start to be an issue, right? That we would start to see weakness in Robinhood, because you already have the retail demand and institutional demand been pushing it up. And now all of a sudden you have Robinhood forced to be purchased by these index funds. That's going to be the last ditch gasp of volume demand. Now, I do believe that this is well known. If you look at the price chart here of Hood, actually all of them, kind of surprised to see that Robinhood was selling off for the past couple weeks, but this isn't something that arbitrarily is made by Standard & Poor's, the company that does the announcements and reshuffling, rebalancing. This isn't happened this morning, right? This has been something that's been going on for a while. They've been talking about this for quite some time, and they finally said, okay, we're going to remove these. Now, the decision was made on Friday to finally cement these guys. Remember, there was also talk about MicroStrategy being added to the S&P 500, and that one did not go through. So you've only got 3 that are being added in. You have Robinhood, MCore, and App11, and Market Access, Enphase Energy, and Caesars Entertainment being yanked out of that. So ultimately, we'll have to wait and see. I watch market pre-market movers. Okay, let me we'll dive into that one here in a quick second. I have a feeling it's going to be kind of a short show. I was actually ready for a great show for you guys. My energy level is fantastic, and my ex has been texting me just before the show started, and it completely derailed my mood, my attitude. I am now in a very not happy place. So we will. I'm actually shaking with anger. That's how bad it is. So hopefully I will regain my composure here and be able to deliver the rest of the show without any animosity or hostility. But of course, you can tell my energy level is pretty damn high right now. Yeah, bad time to talk to her. Honestly, I should just block the number and never talk to her again. It's just, I'm trying not to be that person. I'm trying to be a good person, trying to be peasant. I'm doing no contact. I'm not talking to her. She texted me and reached out. So I'm trying not to. But yeah, I may have to block that number. And you got a spinning wheel? Great. What more could I ask for on a Monday edition of TraderMerlin show? All right, let's move it one step further down the line. By the way, I did. Oh, Janet, it happens. Unfortunately, you want the drama. It's funny because I have some of her stuff here, and why not? Let's just air my dirty laundry. Hey, she's probably listening right now. I'm going to come into chat and start bad-mouthing me there, too. So she wanted to drop her dog off so her dog could stay with my dog, which normally I would accept that. But let's be honest, the way that she firebombed our friendship and destroyed everything, I believe, between us, why would I let her have the perks of my friendship, right? Why would I let her have the perks of my friendship? And that's what my attitude is now. It's like, you've given me nothing. You've given me no friendliness, no niceness. It's been anger and hostility and meanness to me. Every now and again, she tries to be nice, but why bother having all the perks of my friendship? No. So I didn't want her dog here. Plus, my friend is in town. I'm going to be doing a bunch of stuff with him. I'm doing it, definitely. And then she's like, well, I'd like my hat back, and I would like my my book back. And I'm like, okay, well, you've got my Dremel. I want my Dremel because I tried to use it last night. And then it was, what about my bike? So I bought 13 e-bikes, kept them in the garage. I gave her one that she could ride. Never was a gift that I gave it to her, but she could use the bike. And now she wants the bike. I'm like, no, that's staying here. So then she wanted something else. I'm like, you know what? In fact, give me my mom's opal ring, which should, in my mind, that opal ring was given to her knowing that you are going to be something much more important to me. You are going to be something very, very long-term, because my mom was a huge opal fan. So I guess the acknowledgement and acceptance that she wanted to, that she was so, sure, take your ring, just solidified everything for me. And so there we go. Yeah, I definitely want the ring back. I want the ring back, man. It means it's my mom. My mom would want that on the finger of the woman that I love, the wife that I'm going to have my family with. That's who my mom would want that ring on. So unfortunately, it's just one of those things that you can tell by the color of my ears. I'm very, I'm agitated. I really hope to honestly, until she can realize that she's making a big mistake, in my opinion, I never want to talk to her again, ever. I have no reason to. All right, that's my dirty laundry. No, Takutsu, I should have given it to her. She was a great woman. She's a great woman, and unfortunately, something triggered in her head, and it's changed significantly. So, it is what it is. Oh, yeah, I am Naum. I just want the stuff back. We have a mutual friend, so we'll just drop it off there, and I'll never see or speak to her again, unfortunately. I mean, I will, because she's going to go to mutual parties, but just, it hurts. It hurts. All right, let's go to something more fun and exciting. I told you about my dog birthday party. Actually, I didn't put the picture of her in this one, thank goodness. So, here is some pictures from the dog party. Let me just get these ones out here. I think I am, but according to her, I'm not. I'm mean. I am unemotional. I am unloving. I am it's bad. It's really just like, what the hell? All right, so there's, you can see my old German Shepherd here with this little birthday hat on. You're really cute. That's my ex's Great Dane right there. He's adorable with his little drip of slobber coming off his tongue. That's Clint Eastwood. We have Bella over here, who's the dog that basically just eats everything. Millie is, all of these, so these 4 dogs right here are all part of what we called it the Family. And the Family was a really good group of friends that came over to my house every Wednesday for dinner because the park was closed, and we just became really, really, really good friends. Now, there's a new friend over here, Gumi, but he doesn't like to stay still. So that's me trying to wrangle the dogs to stay still, which is obviously very difficult. But MTB Men says, bummer, breathing exercises will help. No, they don't. They don't. There's my Shepherd. He's upset that I wouldn't give him the birthday cake. So he looks like a bear right here. I love it. And there's his birthday cake. So he had a giant hamburger raw patty, which he loved, and that was his little birthday gift. So there, I managed to get you the birthday photos from the dog park party. It was fun. It was good. Like I say, the only thing that really derailed it was having my ex there, and basically she guilted me into inviting her, I felt. So, no more. Yes, dogs are the best, Big Gab. Dogs don't turn on you. Dogs don't change on you, change their opinion about you. So when I get back, I'm doing a bunch of trips, as you guys know. I will be doing Orlando. So again, Money Show, I will be there. October 16th, 17th, and 18th will be the time that I'm there. And there are my 2 presentations. There you go. Thursday, we'll be talking about the Bitcoin going to 1 million. And then on Friday, I'll be talking about stable coins and how they're going to transform the U.S. economy through digital currency innovation. Those are the 2. And I'll be flying to Orlando. And then I'm also going to teach another private class a couple weeks later. I'm all over the place, man. All over the place. So I'm going to be doing a lot of traveling in the month of October and late September. So you're going to have a lot of weekends where like Thursday, Friday, I won't be doing shows, unfortunately. But I'll let you know ahead of time when that happens. The next one, no, Mamon, she's not that type of person. She's actually nice. She's actually a very nice person. It's just for some reason she has just turned 180 on me and said, I'm no good. And it's just me. Yeah, just me. I don't know where the link is. Let me post the link too for anybody who wants it. Let's see. Yeah, I'm not worried about her, guys, doing anything bad or no, she's not the slash your tires kind of type. She's deep down, she's still a good person. Malware targeting hot wallets. Message from CEO. I've got to check that one out, Mick. I did not see that headline there. I'm trying to get a link right now for you guys. Here is your link to the Orlando Money Show. Let me bring it up real quick. Hold on. Hold up. Hey. Okay. Oh, man. It's tough trying to get all this stuff done live for you guys. Hold on. There it is. So there's your money show. I will copy that link over. I should just put it in the PowerPoint, but then you would... I don't know if I'm too nice. I have my moments of meanness. There we go. So there's your link to the money show. For those of you who will be there, Les, definitely going to hang out with you. And then if any others are there, just let me know and we'll try to arrange something. It's going to be... I only have a few presentations, so hopefully, cool. Thanks, Mick. That's a good one to know. I'll have to research that one after the show today. Don't make any transactions at this time. That's scary. That's really scary. Okay, what else we want to dive into today? So, I didn't just tease. I wrote about it in the profile for the description for today's show where I talked about, the latest crypto craze. And it seems like every couple of years we get a craze. At first it was ICOs, then it was NFTs, and now it's Treasuries. Now, what sucks is after every one of these crazes, there's generally a big sell-off. There's generally a big sell-off at some point, like a crash because of that news. Now, Octo. Some of you guys talk about Octo today. So OCTO. Octo is the latest company. And by the way, let's take out today's candle. And there's what it looks like. Okay? Garbage. Trash. This thing is a dumpster fire. Octo made an announcement that they're going to be a treasury as well. And they're going to pick a cryptocurrency. And what they're going to do is they're going to issue debt. They're going to buy this crypto and then build more and more treasuries like this. So we've already got them for Bitcoin. We've got them for Ethereum. You're going to have Solana's happen here anytime soon. Anytime now. And then you've got WorldCoin. WorldCoin is what Octo said that they were going to be buying. 8 co-holdings. And you can see the chart today was up over 3,000%. Yep, WorldCoin today. That's what I'm talking about right now. At one point, if you go from a percentage rally move here, and I think Big Ab already put it in the chat, this thing was up 5,966% today. Man, that's where you just wish that you were an insider holding this stuff, because this is just such a classic pump. And I have I've seen a whole bunch of penny stock gurus claiming how much money they made and how great they are because of this trade. And I kind of chuckle at it because unless you knew this was going to happen, there's no way you would have caught this, right? It's just impossible. I think someone said it earlier, said, I wish I knew about this before it came out. Yeah, who wouldn't? Right? We'd all have a 3,000% gain. I would have mortgaged my home, bought everything I could knowing this. I guess the key now is going to be how often do these treasuries start to pop up? I think you're going to see a lot more of them. I think they're going to be actually on a much more regular basis where a company will say, we're going to be a Dogecoin treasury or Shiba Inu treasury, and the companies themselves are garbage, right? If you looked at this stock before today, I still say this company's garbage, but OCTO, wasn't doing anything. It was literally a flat line down around $1.50. So trash, not good at all. Yeah, not a big fan of these, but what does it do for the industry? It creates more demand for specific projects like WorldCoin. Not World Liberty Financial, but WorldCoin, which is a Sam Altman-backed project, which may have some legs, although many people say it is too much of a privacy invasion coin. It tracks you way too much. Remember to get yeah, Margaret. I'm hoping that on the whatever high hill out there that it does happen at some point that I get married. But I thought that was the one. I thought I had her. And then the reality of it is, after the way that she has acted through all this, the way that she has treated me through all this, I'm so glad I did not put a ring on the finger, nor have children with her. It's unbelievable how quickly things change. Yep. Stepped away for a second, thought you were talking about Octomom. No, not Octomom. Octo, the stock. And again, I don't think that they're an isolated incident. I think you're going to see them over the next 6-8 months, a lot more of these pop up. But I did just... No, it wasn't a wedding ring, Luis. It wasn't a wedding ring. No. I did not give her a wedding ring. What I gave her... My mom was a fan of opals, and I love opals too. And this ring really means a lot because my mom is no longer with us, and it was a pretty significant thing to me, and it just made me feel special. And I wanted her to have it because she loves opals. Her birthday's in October, so she loves opals, and I wanted her to feel special. And I thought my mom would love for her to have it, and I was thinking of much bigger things. Unfortunately, it didn't happen, so... We'll see. Maybe she'll take a hammer to it and smash it before she gives it back to me. So, but these treasuries, guys, I think we got to be careful with them. Especially, look what happened today with MicroStrategy, right? You had Bitcoin was up 0.5%. It was looking pretty decent, but MicroStrategy just cannot seem to get a footing here. Even though Bitcoin was looking much better today, MicroStrategy's not doing so well. Now, the good news for any of us, including myself, who's currently long MicroStrategy, is you do have the last 3 trading sessions have very long bottoming tails. That's a really positive sign. Remember, from psychology, those bottoming tails tell you that the buyers stepped in and pushed this thing higher, right? At some point, it was just really bad and ugly, and they just came and pushed it higher and closed near the top. Great, because the sellers didn't finish the battle. The buyers finished the battle on those last 3 candles here on MSTR. But when you look at that price of Bitcoin, MicroStrategy really should be trending up at this point and have found a much better footing. Bitcoin, when we look at it on this daily basis right here, you can see that zone between 107,680 and 109,215 has been holding. And that's great, right? Very good. Why is it that MicroStrategy is not moving up when Bitcoin does? And Big Gab, it's a great question. I think part of it has to do with the overpricing of MicroStrategy, right? And I think what people are worried about is that MicroStrategy may cease to run out of funds to continue buying Bitcoin with, right? I think that they would like to buy more Bitcoin. Yeah. Andy says, Saylor claimed you bought more Bitcoin today. The thing with that is I have no clue what he's doing. I don't see the transactions. Let me go out here. Well, he usually posts on X, so you can just go to social media and look at Michael Saylor here, see what he's done, because he always posts when he does these type of things, and he'll tell you right away his latest transaction. Nope, he did not. Because usually there it is right there, 10 hours ago. So they acquired 1,955 Bitcoin for $217 million. That's his latest piece. They're now at 638,460 Bitcoin. Yowzers. They spent $47.17 billion on Bitcoin. Yeah, that's is that the current valuation? Acquired for, 73,880 is their average price on that. So crazy. Bought it from Venezuela. Yeah, who knows where the heck they're getting it from? This is what makes me nervous about these treasuries, is I think there's going to be a concern about lack of transparency and what's really going on with them. And I don't think we're there yet. Remember, I have been saying that I do think that down the road, MicroStrategy could be a massive black swan event based off of their holdings. Like, we don't know exactly what they have. So how do you fake a Form 8K? You can put whatever you want in the 8K because they're going to say we have 300,000 sitting over Fidelity, and Fidelity's going to go, yeah, we've got 300,000 here. But is it actually MicroStrategy's, or is it other customer funds that they're aggregating together and rehypothecating those funds? That's the question I have. I just don't know. I don't know. And if there's a company out there called 21 Coins, let me see if I can bring that one up. No, great. It's not going to let me. Let's go there. I'm going to go back to 21. There's a stock out here called 21 Coins. Let me see. I forget. Is it spelled 21? I got to look at the one up. But 21 Coins is run by Jack Mahler. Jack Mahler's a guy who is pretty young, but he is an orange-pilled young man. And he's the CEO of, I think it's called 21 Coins. And they are similar to a treasury. They're trying to do the same thing Michael Saylor is, but they're also doing things to help build Bitcoin's adoption and ecosystem. What they have done is they actually have their address. And they post their address and say, this is where our Bitcoin is, look at it. Michael Saylor doesn't do that, and that's why I'm so concerned, because I think it's all could be a house of cards, right? It could be just a bunch of stuff that's just sitting there, and we just don't really know what's happening. So with these treasuries, I encourage you guys to be very careful with it. I know we talked about the Ethereum treasury, which I'm excited about, which is BMNR. I do not own BMNR. At some point, I may actually buy some, but I'm not a big fan of what the price chart looks like right now, and I have not done any research as far as what the valuation of BMNR should actually be based off their holdings of Bitcoins or of Ethereum. Also, they have not started staking their Ethereum yet. And if they do, that should, in fact, boost the price of Ethereum even more, because it's now removing it from the market. And if they do stake their Ethereum the right way, you should be able to see the address and the contract with which they're staking in, and therefore further transparency that they actually own the Ethereum, right? When a company like Saylor says today about 1,900 Bitcoin, okay, cool. Where did you buy that from? Right? Where? Show me the transaction. Show me the receipts. Again, as I mentioned before, I think it's a ledger entry, and that has me very concerned, because at a certain point, like a bank, if there's a run on the bank, it's because the bank doesn't have the funds. And if enough customers withdraw, that's the problem. And I think that could happen with crypto. If enough customers try to withdraw, then the tide goes out and they don't have all that Bitcoin they said they did, and that could cause a significant drop. But how can you say it has price target? How do you value any crypto? Well, the big factor there with valuation of cryptocurrency is going to be based off of supply and demand, right? Obviously, looking at the trends, how do you value Bitcoin and say it's worth X amount? It's almost impossible to do, in my opinion, right? Almost impossible to do, because it doesn't have a product. It itself is the product, right? Octo didn't run today because of BMNR. Octo ran today because they are going to be a treasury. I mean, it's a piece of it, because obviously BMNR is a treasury, but you're getting more of these treasury things. And here you had a company that was dying with Octo, that they just all of a sudden reinvented themselves by saying we'll be a world coin treasury. And again, I think you're going to see dozens more of this. So for the next 6 months, a year, I don't think this will be too big of a deal. Part of my concern is also going to be what regulators say about this, right? At what point do regulators step in and say, hey, hold on a second, we need to do a little bit more research here? Because remember, we haven't determined if WorldCoin is a security. Is it a commodity, right? There has been no definitive ruling. And when we get the Clarity Act, that'll help us understand better what exactly those things are, right? What are WorldCoin? What is Ethereum? What is Cardano, right? Where do they line up? Because once you have that done, then you can legally do these things. If Octo is using WorldCoin and WorldCoin is deemed to be a security, then they might be banned from actually using it as a custodian. They may not be able to hold it on their balance sheet if it doesn't qualify under SEC rules. What does that mean? That means that Octo is going to be forced to liquidate their position because they're not having it on their balance sheets. Who knows what the future holds here? That's my hypothesis. I would be careful until we got the Clarity Act done. Once that's done, then I would say things will get a lot better. But crazy times. Octo's nuts, and it's not the last one. More of them will. No, I didn't see the BRICS dollar being implemented yet either. There's just talks about it. All right, let's jump back in here and go from our bottom to our top and work our way from the yields, which continue to slide. We talked about this as a breakout from a descending triangle. Really looks good. Chio says, Merlin, can the FTC request Saylor to show proof of Bitcoin ownership? I know that some regulatory agency can. The SEC makes them file documents, which I believe was posted up there earlier, which is your 8K statement. So either their holdings are legitimate or they're not. And again, I think that they're holding it at places like Coinbase and Fidelity saying, yep, we have enough there. It's verified. The auditors come in. Do you have 300,000 Bitcoin for Michael Saylor? Okay, great. But it's not just Saylor's. I think it's a mix of everything, right? I think that's the challenge. So yes, government agencies can go in there and request more information about where it's held, etc. So there's your 10-year yield. This is great for our markets. Keep falling, right? We want that 10-year yield to just drop and drop and drop. It's great for our government. It's great for pretty much everybody. Homeowners, markets, U.S. economy. That 10-year yield dropping further would be great. Surprisingly, we didn't really get that great of a move up in the equity markets based off of that, but we'll talk about that here in just a second. Oh, these aren't even in order. I thought they were in order. I think it's changing in the after-hour session. All right, your dollar index. So the dollar index did break and finally close below this level we've been talking about. It's been bouncing on this 97.63 mark for quite some time, and today we broke down below it and we closed at 97.46. So based off of that, if you're going to do a descending triangle, we did map out that distance here. That means that this US dollar should drop to about 95. If that does continue to go lower, that could be pretty nice for our markets going forward as well. So a weak dollar, weak bond market, cool. Love it. Let's see that thing keep going lower and lower and lower. Rip us to all-time highs going in through the end of the year. Why not? Why not keep that train a-rolling? Next on the list, Russell 2000. Song remains the same here. Led Zeppelin would be proud. Russell's up 0.2%. 2,398. It's not all-time highs, but it is certainly getting its way close to it. All-time high for the Russell 2000 is 2,477. And here we are just tick, 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 getting closer and closer and closer. Love it. Looking great. We want to see that one leapfrog and actually take the lead here would be great for the markets overall as well. S&P is slightly better at 0.25%. Kind of a messy chart I've got here with all these lines, but you can see it's still it's hugging those highs. Just hugging right there. We broke our all-time high on Friday. Rallied a little bit today, but momentum looks pretty good, right? Momentum looks like it's going to keep on going here. Looks fine to me. Now Bitcoin, the one that I really want to rally here, did have a green day, which is nice. We were up 0.47% on Bitcoin. What's nice is really 5 out of the last 6 days have been higher lows, higher lows, higher lows, higher lows. That looks really good from a trend perspective for Bitcoin. I'll show you the trades I made here on my Bitcoin in just a second. Or not my Bitcoin, but in my the account for you guys. Third place, bronze medal goes to the NASDAQ after that wild, volatile Friday session. You can see here 0.49% move to the upside. It was looking great. We did come off the highs just a little bit, but all in all, a pretty decent day. Still a little bit off from our all-time highs, but trend-wise, looks good, right? We're making higher lows still. We're not making higher highs, really. It just broke through today a little bit, but still not convinced that we're going to hit that all-time high. We need a little bit more momentum, which we may get tomorrow. Crude oil, finally a little bit of a bounce, but not much. It gave most of it back as well. You can see it was starting to look good, and then just kind of, now gave back a lot of those gains. Still staying away from that demand zone that's down around, it starts at $60.94 from my perspective here. So that was a nice little mover there today. But gold continuing, and I saw Margaret's chart there about how China's buying more and more gold, and that's driving the price up. Yeah, I assumed it was central banks. I didn't think it was Indian wedding season, but I assumed it was central banks acquiring. And yeah, great. You got a 0.66% gain today. Again, a new all-time high for gold. Based off this, I mean, we could be at 4,000 here in the next couple months. It's just really money just pouring into it. Now, let me go into positions of mine. Robin wants to lose tokenized assets like stocks, bonds, and gold. What does this mean? So this goes back to our discussion a while back where I talked about the layer 2 solutions and how they're choosing a network. Okay, so what Robinhood is going to do, Robinhood is going to sell tokenized stocks. A tokenized stock, what they will do is you can now use digital assets to trade these securities and trade stocks. What they'll do is they will create a token. That token will be worth 1 share of, let's say, Apple. When you buy one of these tokens, which is a share of Apple, they will simultaneously buy it in a holding account, a custody account. So when you buy that token, it's backed by the actual share. Now that token is going to be issued on Robinhood's layer 2 solution, meaning it's an application, it's a decentralized app that sits there, and all of the transactions that happen in Robinhood will take place on that layer 2 solution. Now, once they batch together enough transactions, they report that down to the blockchain that they're using. And they've made it clear that blockchain is going to be Ethereum. Same thing with Coinbase, same thing with JP Morgan. So you're going to, again, I think you're going to see more and more companies adopting this approach and putting their assets on a layer 2 solution and building it out with Ethereum. So that's how it's going to work initially. Now, who knows down the road what the ultimate piece means, what's the auditor who's tracking all this stuff. But yeah, you could buy a token that represents $1 or 1 ounce of gold, and they're holding, in theory, an ounce of gold as a custodian somewhere for you. Makes it sketchy, right? It opens the door, in my opinion, to further fractional reserve lending going out there of assets. But that's how it's supposed to work. Okay, CoreWeave. Actually, I was going to show you some trades here. So this is still my current positions. This has been updated for the current option strike price. So I sold 2 options today. I sold NVIDIA. I sold the 175 strikes expiring Friday. Really surprised how low the premium was. Only got 68 cents. I was kind of disappointed there. And I'll show you the NVIDIA. Here's NVDA. And we'll update this one to 175. Right, so there's my exit level. It does look pretty weak. I mean, it's sitting right at that 168 level as we speak, which is not very good. I do like the 175 because I don't think it's going to get taken away, but if it does, it does. So that was my NVIDIA just for the week. Palantir's a little bit better. I'm more in the money on Palantir, thank goodness. But here's the strike today I sold was the 160. The same one I had as last week. The 160 expiring Friday, September 12th. But that one had much better premium. Collected $1.95 on that bad boy, and there's your Palantir. Just looking really good going sideways here. Hey, stay sideways. Allow me to keep collecting $1.95 or $2 per week. Why would Led Zeppelin be happy, Mike? Because Led Zeppelin wrote a song called "The Song Remains the Same," and I use that reference as I described the Russell 2000 as "The Song Remains the Same" because the chart just keeps going up and up and up and up and up. It was a quick music reference for anybody who wanted to follow along with that one. And that is pretty much it. A 36-minute show. What else did you guys want to discuss real quick before I bail? I'm not planning on doing a long show today. Again, I'm irritated, man. Irritated. How do you just throw someone out of your life like that? Blows my mind. How do you? For those of you who've gotten divorced in the past, man, what a brutal thing to do. I know we've got many divorcees in here, both men and women. Man, that's got to be so tough. Gary says more music references. I'm all right with that. I can do more music references. Happy to do it. As you guys know, I'm a bit of a music addict. So yes, I have a lot more music references in my head. So Apple, look, most of the stuff that Apple has shown, people aren't that excited about it. Just really just not that excited about it at all. And yeah, Apple's down a little bit today. Wasn't really a great pattern the other day, but on Friday's session. You do have this really big unfilled gap that's jumped up on September 2nd. So, that's one I would be looking for it to fill here. Now, typically during these events, a lot of people, are excited and they buy into these events. If Apple doesn't show anything tomorrow that is that great, I think you're going to see this thing just fall even more. And that could bring down the equity market. So this would be a big piece for tomorrow. Even though it's not an earnings announcement or anything, it's them showing what they're selling for the year. And if they don't sell anything good, people are going to walk away. I'm going to make sure that they got something good on the books. May not be that good. Are lower rates affecting financials? Well, the higher the rates go, the more wiggle room these banks have. I think banks are crafty that even though we have these rates going lower, I think banks are still finding ways to make money out of it through fees or whatever. So I would argue it is impacting them, but I would say for the positive. I would think that it's going to be more of a positive piece for them. You can look back at what's been going on, even in this environment where we've had this big talk about rate cuts. I think this has been a big factor for the driving of the market is financials. I mean, it's been a really nice move up. Of course, big move down on Friday, small little hammer formation here today. But yeah, I do think that the interest rates are impacting financial success and profits. Mainly trading because they've been buying. And when you look at the earnings announcements for financial firms, it seems like their trading revenue is just off the charts. Not only is that retail people and commissions, but also their own trading because the markets have just been straight up as good charts should look. Okay, let me go out here and show you what's happening for tomorrow. There's really not a lot happening over the next couple days. Next week, well, we do have some big numbers later this week with the PPI and CPI numbers. But for tomorrow, you got nothing. You got the NFIB Small Business Index. You got really nothing on that earnings calendar, which I will bring up for you right now. Let me bring up the earnings calendar. Kind of quiet. Really, it's about a little bit later on in the week. So here's your earnings calendar for mañana. You got nothing big, right? Oracle. Okay, we got Oracle. That's a big one. But really, from the economic perspective, it's all about later this week. Let me, why is it taking so long for this thing to load? Here we go. Forex Factory, I'll bring up. I don't want to lose my peace either, Margaret. I really, I want to be happy, and I want everybody else around me to be happy. So the expectations for tomorrow, for Wednesday, are that PPI number is going to come down dramatically. That's the big news for the week, will be that PPI number. But that's on Wednesday. We'll talk about that one a little bit later on. All right, 39-minute show. Man, what's going on over here? I got to have my ex call me more often and get me irritated and angry so I can't even think straight. That works wonderful. So, all right. Well, that'll do it for me, guys. I'm going to wrap up the show early. I don't know what you guys are going to do with your extra 21 minutes. Jeez Louise. So I'm doing a show tomorrow. I'll do a show on Friday. I'm reaching out to get some new guests on the program. Someone reached out to me. They're a blockchain, supposed to be some super blockchain guru. We'll see about that. I'll vet them first before I even think about bringing them on the program. But yeah, we'll see. We'll hopefully get them on the program here soon. So if you have anything you want me to discuss on tomorrow's show, I'll be in a better mood tomorrow, I promise. Going to be a good mood tomorrow. TraderMerlin@gmail.com is where you can email that stuff to. If you want, you can also comment down below any of the YouTube videos. I generally look at all that stuff as well and put those comments into the show and make that part of the show content. So there you go. Hopefully you guys learned some stuff today. If you have anything you want me to discuss, email me and I will see you all tomorrow. Take care, everybody.